Have you ever had a strong feeling that you've been here before? Not just in a place you've visited, but in this world, in another time? Maybe you've felt a deep connection to a historical period or a faraway land you've never seen. Or perhaps you've met someone for the first time, but felt like you've known them forever. These aren't just strange feelings or coincidences. They might be signs that you're a reincarnated soul. Reincarnation isn't just an idea from old stories or movies. It's a belief that many people around the world share. The idea is simple. When we die, our soul moves on to another body and starts a new life. It's like turning to a fresh page in a book that's already been partly written. Each new life adds another chapter to our soul's long story. But how can we know if we've lived before? Are there clues in our everyday lives that might show we're carrying memories or traits from past lives? That's what we're going to explore today. We'll look at 8 signs that might mean you're a reincarnated soul. These signs can help us understand ourselves better and maybe even unlock some mysteries about who we are and why we're here. Now you might be wondering, why should I care about past lives? I've got enough to deal with in this one. That's a fair question. But understanding reincarnation and recognizing signs of past lives can actually be really helpful in our current life. Think about it this way. Have you ever faced a problem or a fear that doesn't make sense? Maybe you're scared of water even though you've never had a bad experience with it. Or perhaps you're drawn to a certain career without knowing why. These things might have roots in your past lives. By recognizing and understanding these connections, we can start to make sense of our current experiences and feelings. Knowing about past lives can also help us grow as people. It can explain why we have certain talents or struggles. Maybe you're naturally good at music because you were a musician in a past life. Or maybe you have a hard time trusting others because of something that happened to you before. When we understand these things, we can work on improving ourselves and overcoming old hurts or fears. Plus, the idea of reincarnation can change how we see life and death. If we believe that our soul continues on after we die, it can make us less afraid of death. It can also make us think more about how we live our current life. After all, if we're going to come back, we might want to leave the world a little better than we found it. Before we dive into the signs, let's talk a bit more about what reincarnation really means. Reincarnation is the belief that when our physical body dies, our soul or spirit moves on to another body. It's like changing clothes. Our body is the outfit, but our soul is who we really are underneath. This idea isn't new. It's been around for thousands of years and is a key part of many religions and spiritual beliefs. In Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, reincarnation is a central idea. They believe that we keep coming back to learn lessons and grow spiritually until we reach a state of perfection or enlightenment. But you don't have to follow any specific religion to believe in reincarnation. Many people who don't consider themselves religious still feel that they've lived before. They might have memories, skills, or connections that seem to come from another time or place. One important thing to understand about reincarnation is that it's not always a straight line. We don't necessarily start as a plant, then become an animal, then a human. Some beliefs say we can move between different forms of life, while others focus just on human lives. The common thread is the idea that our soul or consciousness continues on a journey through multiple lives. Another key point is that our past lives aren't separate from who we are now. They're a part of us. The experiences, lessons, and relationships from our past lives can shape who we are in this life. That's why recognizing signs of past lives can be so helpful. It's like finding missing pieces of a puzzle that make the whole picture of who we are clearer. But here's the thing. Even if you believe in reincarnation, you probably don't remember your past lives clearly. Most of us don't wake up with full memories of being a medieval knight or an ancient Egyptian scribe. Instead, the signs of past lives are usually more subtle. They might show up as unexplained feelings, interests, skills, or even fears. That's what we're going to explore in the rest of this video. We'll look at 8 signs that might mean you're a reincarnated soul. Some of these signs might surprise you, and others might explain things you've always wondered about yourself. As we go through these signs, remember that having one, or even all of these signs, doesn't prove you've been reincarnated. There can be other explanations for these experiences too. But for many people, the idea of past lives helps make sense of things they feel and experience. It can be a powerful tool for understanding ourselves and our place in the world. So, let's start our journey into the past, or should we say, your past lives. Get ready to explore the hidden memories and connections that might be shaping your life right now. Who knows? By the end of this video, you might see yourself and your life in a whole new light. Our first sign that you might be a reincarnated soul is something many of us have experienced. Deja vu. Deja vu is that strange feeling when you're in a new situation, but you're absolutely sure you've been there before. It's like watching a movie you've never seen, but somehow knowing what's going to happen next. Now, scientists have come up with various explanations for déjà vu. They say it might be a glitch in our brain's memory system or a momentary delay in processing information. But for those who believe in reincarnation, déjà vu could be much more. It could be a glimpse into a past life, a moment when the veil between your current life and a previous one becomes thin. Imagine you're visiting a new city for the first time. As you walk down a street, you suddenly know what's around the next corner before you get there. You can picture a small cafe with red awnings, and sure enough, there it is when you turn the corner. This kind of experience might be your soul remembering a place it knew in a past life. Déjà vu can happen with people too. Have you ever met someone new, but felt like you've known them forever? Maybe you feel instantly comfortable with them, or you seem to know things about them that they haven't told you. This could be because your souls have met before, in another life. But here's the thing about déjà vu. It's usually quick and fuzzy. You might have a strong feeling that you've experienced something before, but you can't quite pin down when or where. That's because memories from past lives aren't usually clear and detailed. They're more like feelings or impressions that bubble up from deep in your subconscious. So how can you tell if your déjà vu is just a brain glitch or a sign of a past life? Pay attention to how strong and frequent these experiences are. If you have déjà vu often, and the feelings are very strong or specific, it might be more than just a quirk of your brain. It could be your past lives trying to communicate with you. Also, notice if your déjà vu experiences are connected to certain themes or places. Do you often feel like you've been in old buildings before, even if you know you haven't visited them in this life? Or maybe you always seem to know your way around cities with a certain type of architecture. These patterns could be clues about where and when you lived in past lives. Remember, though, that déjà vu alone doesn't prove you're a reincarnated soul. It's just one possible sign. But if you have strong, frequent déjà vu experiences, especially ones that feel meaningful or emotionally powerful, it might be worth exploring the idea of past lives further. In the end, whether déjà vu is a sign of reincarnation or just an interesting brain phenomenon, it reminds us that there's still a lot of mystery in how we perceive and remember things. It opens up the possibility that our experiences and memories might be bigger and more complex than we usually think. And isn't that an exciting idea to consider? Our second sign that you might be a reincarnated soul is having unexplained fears or phobias. We're not talking about common fears that have clear causes, like being afraid of heights because you fell out of a tree as a kid. We're talking about intense fears that don't seem to have any reason behind them. Let's say you have a terrible fear of water. You avoid swimming pools, you get nervous crossing bridges, and the thought of getting on a boat makes you panic. But here's the thing. You've never had a bad experience with water in this life. You didn't almost drown as a child. You've never been in a boat accident, nothing like that. So where does this fear come from? According to believers in reincarnation, these kinds of unexplained fears might be memories from past lives. Maybe in a previous life you drowned or were in a shipwreck. The memory of that traumatic event might not be clear in your mind, but the fear it caused has carried over into your current life. These fears can be about all sorts of things. Some people have an intense fear of certain animals, even if they've never had a bad experience with them. Others might be terrified of small spaces or heights, or even specific places or types of people. If these fears are very strong and don't have any obvious cause in your current life, they could be signs of past life experiences. Now, it's important to note that there are other explanations for phobias. Psychology has a lot to say about how fears can develop even without direct negative experiences. And some fears might be influenced by things we've seen in movies or heard about from other people. But for many people, the idea of past life trauma makes sense of fears that otherwise seem to come out of nowhere. One interesting thing about these unexplained fears is that they can sometimes be very specific. For example, someone might not be afraid of all dogs, but have an intense fear of one particular breed. Or they might be fine with most bodies of water, but panic when they see a certain type of ship. These specific fears could be pointing to very particular past life experiences. If you have fears like this, it doesn't mean you're stuck with them forever. Many people find that understanding the possible past life connections of their fears helps them deal with them better. Some even use past life regression therapy, a technique that tries to uncover memories from past lives, to understand and overcome their phobias. But even if you don't want to explore past life memories directly, just being open to the idea that your fear might come from a past life can be helpful. It can make you feel less crazy for having a fear that doesn't make sense. And it can give you a different perspective on your fear, seeing it as an old memory rather than a current threat. Of course, if you have fears or phobias that are seriously affecting your life, it's always a good idea to talk to a mental health professional. They can help you find ways to manage your fear, whether it comes from this life or a past one. Remember, having unexplained fears doesn't automatically mean you're a reincarnated soul. But if you have strong fears that don't seem to have any cause in your current life, it might be worth considering whether they could be echoes from a past life. At the very least, it's an interesting way to think about our deep-seated fears and where they might come from. The third sign that you might be a reincarnated soul is having unusually vivid dreams or recurring nightmares, especially ones that seem to take place in different time periods or unfamiliar places. These dreams can be like windows into your past lives, giving you glimpses of who you might have been and what you might have experienced. Think about your dreams for a moment. Do you often dream about places you've never been, but that feels strangely familiar? Maybe you find yourself walking through an ancient city or working in a job you've never had in this life. These could be memories from past lives bubbling up in your dreams. Sometimes these dreams can be very detailed. You might see yourself wearing clothes from a different era, or using tools and technology that don't exist anymore. You might even speak or understand languages in your dreams that you don't know in your waking life. All of these could be signs that your dreams are tapping into memories from past lives. Recurring dreams are especially interesting when we're talking about reincarnation. If you have the same dream over and over, or dreams with similar themes, these might be important memories or experiences from a past life that your soul is trying to process or understand. For example, if you often dream about being in a war, even though you've never been in one in this life, it could be a memory of a past life as a soldier. Nightmares can also be significant. If you have nightmares about specific situations, like being trapped in a fire or drowning or being chased, these could be memories of how you died in a past life. It sounds scary, and these dreams can be upsetting. But many people who believe in reincarnation say that understanding these nightmares as past life memories can actually help make them less frightening. One interesting thing about these dreams is that they often feel different from your usual dreams. They might seem clearer, more logical, or more emotionally intense. You might wake up feeling like you've really been somewhere else, or like you've just relived a real experience. This vivid quality is what sets these possible past life dreams apart from ordinary dreams. Now, it's true that our brains are amazing at creating detailed and realistic scenes in our dreams, even of places and situations we've never experienced. We're influenced by books we read, movies we watch, and stories we hear. So not every dream of a different time or place is necessarily a past life memory. But if you have these vivid, realistic dreams often, especially if they have recurring themes or feel emotionally significant, they could be signs of past lives. Some people find it helpful to keep a dream journal, writing down these vivid dreams as soon as they wake up. Over time, you might start to see patterns or recurring elements that could give you clues about your past lives. Maybe you always dream about a certain type of landscape or a particular historical period or a specific role or job. It's also worth paying attention to how you feel in these dreams. Do you feel at home in these unfamiliar places? Do you have skills or knowledge in the dreams that you don't have in your waking life? These feelings and abilities could be carryovers from your past lives. Remember, though, that interpreting dreams is not an exact science, whether you're looking at them through the lens of psychology or reincarnation. Dreams are complex and personal, and only you can can decide what they really mean to you. But if you're open to the idea of reincarnation, your dreams could be a fascinating way to explore your soul's journey through multiple lives. So next time you have a vivid dream of a place or time you've never experienced, or a recurring nightmare that doesn't seem connected to your current life, consider the possibility that you're getting a glimpse into a past life. It might just change how you see your dreams and yourself. Sign number 4, unexplained skills and talents, abilities from another time. Have you ever picked up a new skill with surprising ease, as if you were remembering rather than learning? This could be the 4th sign that you're a reincarnated soul. Some people believe that talents and abilities can carry over from one life to the next, even if we don't consciously remember learning them. Think about the things you're naturally good at. Maybe you have a knack for languages, even though you've never studied them intensively. Or perhaps you can play a musical instrument without much practice, your fingers seeming to know where to go on their own. These unexplained talents might be skills you developed in a past life. It's not just about being good at something, though. The key here is that these abilities often come with a strong sense of familiarity or rightness. When you're using these skills, you might feel like you're in a state of flow, everything coming naturally and easily. It's as if your body or mind remembers something that you consciously don't. Sometimes these past life skills can be quite specific. For example, you might find that you're especially good at a particular style of cooking, even if it's not from your cultural background. Or you might have an uncanny ability to work with certain materials or tools, even if you've never been trained in that craft. These unexplained abilities can show up in all areas of life. Some people find they have a natural understanding of complex topics like mathematics or physics, grasping concepts quickly that others struggle with. Others might have an innate sense of how to work with animals, or how to heal people, or how to lead and inspire others. It's important to note that having a natural talent doesn't automatically mean it's from a past life. We all have genetic predispositions and childhood experiences that shape our abilities. But if you have skills that don't seem to come from your family or your upbringing, and that feel deeply familiar to you, they could be echoes of past life experiences. Recognizing these potential past life skills can be empowering. It might encourage you to explore talents you didn't know you had, or to pursue interests that have always fascinated you but that you've never had the chance to explore. After all, if you were good at something in a past life, those abilities might still be within you, waiting to be rediscovered. So pay attention to the things that come naturally to you, especially if they seem unexpected or out of place in your current life. They might just be clues to who you were and what you did in a past life, offering you a chance to reconnect with forgotten parts of yourself. The 5th sign that you might be a reincarnated soul is having a strong, unexplained attraction to certain cultures or historical time periods. This isn't just about finding a particular era interesting. It's about feeling a deep personal connection, as if you somehow belong there. Have you ever felt an inexplicable pull towards a specific culture or country? Maybe you're fascinated by ancient Egypt, feeling a sense of recognition when you see images of the pyramids or hieroglyphics. Or perhaps you're drawn to Victorian England, with its manners and fashions feeling oddly familiar. This strong attraction could be your soul recognizing a place where it once lived. This connection often goes beyond just intellectual interest. You might find that you easily understand or adopt the customs, values, or way of thinking of that culture. For example, if you had a past life in feudal Japan, you might find that Japanese philosophy resonates deeply with you, or that you instinctively understand the nuances of Japanese etiquette. Sometimes this attraction manifests as a love for the art, music, or literature of a particular time and place. You might be moved to tears by Celtic music, even if you have no Irish or Scottish heritage in this life. Or you might feel a profound connection to Renaissance paintings, as if you can understand exactly what the artist was trying to express. This sign can also show up as a fascination with certain historical events or periods. Maybe you're intensely interested in the American Civil War, feeling a personal connection to the stories and experiences of people from that time. Or perhaps you're drawn to the age of exploration, feeling a thrill of recognition when you read about sea voyages and discoveries. It's not always about the distant past either. Some people feel a strong connection to more recent historical periods, like the Roaring Twenties or the 1960s. If you feel like you were born in the wrong era, it might be because part of your soul remembers living in that time before. One interesting aspect of this sign is that it often comes with a sense of nostalgia or longing. You might feel homesick for a place you've never been, or miss a way of life you've never experienced in this lifetime. This bittersweet feeling can be a clue that you're connecting with memories from a past life. Of course, it's natural to be interested in history and other cultures. But if your connection feels unusually strong or personal, if you find yourself knowing things about a culture or time period without having learned them, or if you feel more at home in that culture than in your own, it could be a sign of a past life connection. Recognizing this sign can enrich your life in many ways. It might inspire you to travel to places you feel connected to study a particular culture or historical period in depth, or to incorporate elements of that culture into your daily life. By doing so, you might find a sense of completion or homecoming, as if you're reconnecting with a part of yourself you had forgotten. The sixth sign that you might be a reincarnated soul is having unexplained physical sensations, chronic pains, or distinctive birthmarks. Some believe that these physical traits can be carryovers from injuries or traumas experienced in past lives. Let's start with unexplained pains. Have you ever had a persistent pain or physical discomfort that doctors can't explain? Maybe you have a recurring pain in a specific part of your body, but there's no apparent medical reason for it. In the context of reincarnation, these could be phantom pains from injuries in a past life. For example, someone who died from a gunshot wound in a past life might experience unexplained chest pains in this life. Or someone who lost a limb might feel sensations in that area, even though their current body is whole. These pains often don't respond to normal treatments, which adds to the mystery. Birthmarks are another interesting physical sign that some link to reincarnation. According to this belief, distinctive birthmarks might correspond to fatal wounds from a past life. For instance, a person with a birthmark on their head might have died from a head injury in a previous incarnation. Some researchers have even tried to match birthmarks with the recorded deaths of people who children claim to remember being in a past life. While this isn't scientific proof, the stories can be quite compelling. It's not just about pain or marks, though. Some people report having unusual physical reactions to certain situations that might be linked to past life experiences. For example, someone who drowned in a past life might have an unexplained feeling of panic when near water, even if they've never had a bad experience with water in this life. Another physical sign could be unusual reactions to certain sounds, smells, or sensations. Maybe the sound of gunfire makes you feel physically ill, even if you've never been in combat in this life. Or perhaps the smell of a particular type of flower brings on a wave of emotion or physical sensation that you can't explain. Some people also report having skills or physical abilities that don't seem to match their current life experiences. For instance, you might have excellent balance or coordination that can't be explained by your activities in this life. This could be muscle memory carried over from a past life where you needed these skills. It's important to note that many of these physical sensations can have medical or psychological explanations, and you should always consult with healthcare professionals about persistent pains or unusual physical reactions. However, if medical science can't provide an explanation, considering the possibility of a past life connection can sometimes provide comfort or a different perspective on these experiences. Recognizing these potential physical signs of past lives can be a fascinating way to explore your soul's journey. It might help you understand quirks of your physical body that have always puzzled you, or give you a new appreciation for the complex history your soul might carry. Remember, though, that having unexplained pains or birthmarks doesn't necessarily mean you're a reincarnated soul. These are just potential signs that some people believe can indicate past life experiences. As with all aspects of reincarnation, it's a deeply personal belief, and only you can decide what these experiences mean for you. Our final two signs that you might be a reincarnated soul are closely related: unexplained connections with certain people and a strong sense of intuition or knowing. These signs often feel like echoes of relationships and knowledge from past lives. Let's start with unexplained connections. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt an instant, deep connection? It's as if you've known them forever, even though you've just met. This could be a sign of a soul connection from a past life. These connections can take many forms. You might feel an immediate sense of trust or understanding with someone, or you might have a strong positive or negative reaction that doesn't seem to match your actual interactions with them. These past life connections aren't always positive. Sometimes you might meet someone and feel an instant dislike or discomfort, even though they haven't done anything wrong. This could be because of unresolved issues from a past life relationship. On the other hand, you might meet someone and feel an immediate sense of needing to help or protect them, which could be a carryover from a past life where you had a close relationship. These connections aren't limited to romantic relationships. You might feel a parental instinct towards someone who's not much younger than you, or a sibling-like closeness with a friend you've just met. These feelings could be echoes of family relationships from past lives. Now let's talk about intuition and unexplained knowledge. This is the sense of just knowing things without being able to explain how or why you know them. It's a deep, gut-level certainty about certain topics or situations. For example, you might find that you have strong opinions or detailed knowledge about historical events or places you've never studied. Or you might have an intuitive understanding of complex concepts that you've never been taught. This could be knowledge carrying over from past lives. This intuition can also show up as a sort of future memory, a sense of knowing what's going to happen before it does. You might have hunches that turn out to be correct, or dreams that seem to predict future events. Some believe this is because our souls, having lived many lives, have a broader perspective that can sometimes peek through into our current consciousness. Another way this intuition might manifest is in your life choices. You might feel strongly drawn to certain career paths, hobbies, or life experiences without really knowing why. This could be your soul guiding you towards experiences it knows are important for your growth, based on the wisdom gathered over many lifetimes. It's important to note that having intuition or feeling connections with people doesn't automatically mean you're a reincarnated soul. We all have instincts and can form quick bonds with others. However, if you frequently experience these feelings in a way that seems to go beyond normal intuition or typical relationship dynamics, it could be a sign of past life influences. Recognizing these signs can be both exciting and challenging. It might help explain some of the inexplicable feelings or knowledge you've always had, but it can also raise questions about the nature of your relationships and the source of your intuitions. If you think you're experiencing these signs, it can be helpful to pay attention to your feelings and instincts. Keep a journal of your intuitions and unexplained connections. Over time, you might start to see patterns that give you insight into your soul's journey across multiple lifetimes. As we wrap up our exploration of the 8 signs you might be a reincarnated soul, it's important to take a moment to reflect on what all of this means. We've journeyed through déjà vu experiences, unexplained fears, vivid dreams, mysterious skills, cultural attractions, physical marks, deep connections, and intuitive knowledge. Each of these signs offers a potential glimpse into the vast tapestry of experiences your soul might have accumulated over many lifetimes. Remember, experiencing one or even all of these signs doesn't definitively prove that you're a reincarnated soul. The concept of reincarnation is a belief, not a scientifically proven fact. However, for many people, the idea of past lives provides a meaningful framework for understanding their experiences, feelings, and connections that otherwise seem inexplicable. If you've recognized some of these signs in yourself, you might be wondering what to do next. First, embrace curiosity. Allow yourself to explore these feelings and experiences without judgment. Keep an open mind, but also maintain a healthy skepticism. It's okay to consider past lives as a possibility without fully committing to the belief. You might want to start keeping a journal of your experiences related to these signs. Write down your déjà vu moments, your vivid dreams, your unexplained skills or attractions. Over time, you might start to see patterns or connections that give you insight into potential past lives. For some people, exploring the possibility of past lives can be a profound journey of self-discovery. It might help explain long-standing fears or attractions, give context to inexplicable skills or knowledge, or provide a sense of purpose and continuity to your life. Understanding yourself as a soul on a long journey through many lives can bring a sense of peace and a broader perspective on your current life challenges. However, it's crucial to remember that the most important life is the one you're living right now. While exploring past lives can be fascinating, don't let it distract you from making the most of your current incarnation. Use any insights you gain to enrich your present life, to grow, to heal, and to form deeper connections with others. If you find the idea of past lives compelling and want to explore further, there are many resources available. Books, meditation techniques, and even past life regression therapy can help you delve deeper into your soul's journey. Just be sure to approach these explorations with an open but discerning mind. Ultimately, whether or not you believe in reincarnation, the signs we've discussed can be valuable tools for self-reflection. They invite us to consider the mysteries of consciousness, the depths of human experience, and the interconnectedness of all things. They encourage us to look beyond the surface of our day-to-day lives and consider the bigger picture of our existence. So, as you go forward from here, carry these ideas with you as possibilities. Remain open to the whispers of your soul, to the unexplained knowings, to the deep connections. Whether they come from past lives or from the rich complexity of your current life, these experiences add depth and wonder to our journey through this world. Remember, every life, past, present, or future, is an opportunity for growth, for love, for learning. Make the most of this life you're living now, and who knows? Perhaps the experiences you're gathering today are laying the groundwork for a fascinating journey in lives to come.